Hello, my name is Matt Brown, and this is my presentation entitled Smartphones, a Millennial Nightmare. During the turn of the century, our world was reaching new heights in technology when it came to digital communication. At the forefront of this technology was this personal computer and cell phones. In 1992, our world took another step when IBM introduced the Simon Personal Communicator. This was a device that not only could you make a voice call to anyone in the world, but you could also send an email, a fax, or pages. This would become what we now know as the very first smartphone. Over the next decade, companies from all across the world would use this type of technology and try to further advance it. And in 2007, our world was changed once again with the introduction from Apple of the first iPhone. This phone had functions that the world had never seen before or thought was possible. The power of the devices today are amazing. We literally have more power in our cell phone than the room-sized computers that powered the first Apollo space shuttle mission. The ability to have vast amounts of information literally in the palm of our hand is astonishing. We now have ways to connect to people throughout the world in various ways, whether that's by phone, text, face-to-face interaction using FaceTime, or even online social media, just to name a few. But with all this potential and all the positives, that usually comes with a negative. New devices are being developed every day, and it keeps people coming back wanting more. Everywhere you look, people are staring at their cell phones. They can't get enough of it. Whether it's in a restaurant, a supermarket, at church, in a department store, at the movies, at a place of work, or worse yet, even driving down the road. People cannot put down their devices. Neither are we. The millennial generation that grew up with this type of technology era has had this embedded into their system. Surveys show that over 90% of all millennials own some type of smartphone. Out of this 90%, 40% actually admit that they spend more time interacting with their device than they do actual humans. That includes their significant other, their children, their parents, or their peers. One study shows that not only millennials, but all smartphone users spend an average of 3 hours a day totally devoted to their device. This is opposed to just 18 minutes a day prior to smartphones being introduced. That makes up 45 days a year that's spent totally devoted to their phone. Why is this? As a human species, we inherently want to feel good. When we feel good, dopamine is released into our system. And then we constantly look for ways to refill that type of feeling again. Jim Brewer, the writer of A Craving Mind, sums up why we get addicted to things in 3 steps. First, we find our trigger. Secondly, we act on a behavior. And lastly, we earn the reward. It's a cycle that's never ending. To illustrate Brewer's theory, we'll just take Facebook as an example. A lot of people log on to Facebook and that becomes their trigger. When they log on there, they decide to post a picture. When they post this picture, they're acting out on their behavior. Once they post the picture, they wait and hope for someone to comment on their picture, maybe like the picture, give a heart to the picture, whatever the case may be. And when this happens, they like that feeling. That releases the dopamine into their system. When this happens, they want to do it again. So they go right back to their trigger. It's a never-ending cycle that keeps us addicted. So what are some of the side effects of this type of addiction? Social isolation could be one. By spending vast amounts of time online on social media or other features of your phone, you can become recluse to the rest of the world, and face-to-face interactions can now become socially awkward. Back and neck stress. By constantly looking down at your phone, or maybe not sitting with the right type of posture, you can make undue stress to your neck and your back. Depression, that's a huge one. Because of this reclusiveness, by spending that amount of time online, or maybe you're viewing things that are negative constantly that's coming up on your feed. Maybe there's cyberbullying taking place. Now, because you're recluse from the rest of the world, and this is what you're seeing, you can become very depressed in normal society life. And lack of critical thinking. What has this done to critical thinking? Now, with the ability to maybe ask Siri for an answer, take whatever the internet gives you as the truth, and no longer have to sit down and try to problem solve and use critical thinking within your mind or research out the answer. You just have it at the one touch of the keypad, or maybe by speaking in the phone. What has this done to critical thinking? Lastly, distracted driving. Like we talked about before, people everywhere are on their telephone while they're driving down the road. The incident rate because of this is astounding. There's no federal mandate yet that makes this illegal, but a lot of states have penalized people or starting to write tickets if you're caught while texting or driving. Why do we not realize that this is a dangerous thing? How addicted do we have to be that where we decide to stare at our phone instead of paying attention to what's going on while you're driving down the interstate with your family maybe in the car? Lastly, what can we do to try to curb this type of addiction? Well, the first thing, like any addiction, whether it's cell phone addiction or drug addiction, the first thing you've got to do is not deny that you've got a problem. Realize that you've got a problem and own that. And it's up to us to make that change. No one is going to change it for you. If we're not willing to put forth the effort to break this type of addiction, it's not going to happen. One thing you might could do is try to place your phone out of reach. You'll be surprised how laziness is going to help you with this. I know if I'm sitting down at a restaurant, watching TV, whatever the case may be, I'm constantly reaching and picking up my phone anytime I think of anything that I may want an answer to or would like to see. The times I don't reach for it is maybe I've got it in another room getting charged. I won't take the time to get up to go get it at those moments, even though I'm thinking of something. So something that may help us break the habit is just keeping the phone just out of reach. Another one would be to create some stop times. Decide in your mind, from this moment till this moment, I'm not going to pick up the phone. No matter who calls, no matter what I see, maybe there's some breaking news that I'm hearing about it, maybe there's something I'm thinking of I'd like to go look up. I'm not going to make that effort. Create those stop times. Another one, the best way to get rid of a habit would be create a new habit. Find a hobby. Find something else that you like to do. The more you can try to do the other habit, it breaks you away from the original habit. Another one would be to surround yourself with people that will keep you accountable. Find loved ones. Find family members. Tell them that you've got this type of addiction and you're trying to change the way that your habits are. They'll hold you accountable and keep you from it anytime you try to pick it up. Lastly, if we don't try to break this habit, what are we telling to the next generation? What type of society are we going to be looking at in the future if this continues to progress? It's up to us to make this change. Thank you.